Hi, Kerry from Mindful Moves, and today we're talking all about movement and what it is that we do. So Mindful Moves really talks about moving with purpose, and of course the word mindful again explaining how movement develops the brain, develops our all sense of well-being. So it's not just the brain, but the mind, the body and the soul. And so I absolutely love this work because this is the way in which we develop most naturally. We engage in our world and we interact with our world through this vehicle, our body. And it is through our senses and the taking in of information and the connecting with it and truly experiencing it that begins to create this neurological map of the world that I'm in and how it works. And of course, we're able then to take this understanding over to academic, two-dimensional work where the space translates to the space on a piece of paper, and the way in which I move translates to the way in which I write or leave my mark, as I say, on a piece of paper. And of course, in doing so, the meaning and the message and the purpose that I then convey through doing this. So really, yes, talk so much about this. And of course, whenever you see me, I'm either just about to get on my treadmill in the morning or I've just climbed off, so you get raw Kerry. But I do this because I experience myself so much success in doing that. And I think I just want to encourage people today to start using their body more, to start moving more, interacting more, being more actively involved rather than spectating in their life, so that they can experience this. And so yes, as we understand that we learn from this concrete, this exploration, this experience, and we take this understanding over there to two-dimensional work, we begin to understand that this is the be-all and the end-all, and that the two-dimensional work really becomes a representation of this life and experience and the work and the purpose of our being, whether that be at work, the purpose of the work that we're doing there, which enables us to have the life, or to have the life we hopefully want. But either way, it is the two-dimensional that is supporting or secondary to the three-dimensional experience that we have. Sadly, I think the world's become a place where we've placed so much importance on this two-dimensional space, on this intellect, on this being able to process and represent our understandings in a two-dimensional form, that we've forgotten that we are in actual fact a living, breathing, experiencing organism that needs absolutely to be able to be interacting and be involved in order for us to have life. I wrote yesterday, if you do our little grade 4 stuff on this side, we learn about Mrs. Nerg. And you seem to revisit Mrs. Nerg just about every single year. I don't know in high school if I eventually stop. But Mrs. Nerg talks about the 7 life processes. And for me, again, looking at that word and really being challenged to look deeper, you know, Mrs. starts with movement, respiration and senses. And I just found it quite ironic that yes, in this acronym, those first 3, which are so important, are the first 3 in the acronym. And so yes, we absolutely want to be moving. We absolutely need to be breathing, which talks into reflexes and survival. And we absolutely need to be integrating the sensory information coming in and understanding what it is, what information it is that our senses are giving us, so that we can choose to respond rather than react. And as we choose to respond, we move forward purposefully, making decisions as to how it is that I'm going to respond to events and things happening in my life. And then, of course, how it is that I'm going to choose to act and step out for myself. And so, yes, I absolutely love the work that we do. I absolutely love the moves. And so if you haven't heard about our work, we start learning about how movement can activate certain parts of the brain. And how, as we notice people struggling within certain groups of movement, that ultimately, as they think on an idea or a goal, they possibly could be stuck somewhere in their thinking or understanding within a certain functional area of the brain. So we've taken these designed moves and divided them into these 3 groups that represent 3 areas of the brain. We have the first functional area, which is the first to develop, and this has got everything to do with instinct as such. We've got the second functional area that talks about the emotions, the mind, and the heart connection. And we've got this third functional that really talks about the processing, the understanding, the communication of all parts of the system, this wonderful system that we have. And of course, each has to develop in order. And so if the first is not in place, we cannot move over to the second or the third. But really getting to understand and play with these moves now, I really enjoy what it is that it offers me, and I can bring it into my daily life. And so yes, from here, I'm going to go do a bit of that. And I find that it is while I'm walking on the treadmill. And I think many people are active who absolutely can't do without their gym will understand that walking on that treadmill allows for clearer thinking. And the reason why is because you're actually working within that third functional area. And in doing these cross-lateral moves, you're allowing the brain to connect once again, left and right hemispheres and all the senses, so that you are able to think from a more whole brain state. We're busy driving in the rain here, and we were just talking about how badly people seem to drive in the rain. And of course, I said to my husband, but yes, it's because we are stressed and we go into this one-sided thinking. And our stress profile, whatever that might look like for you as the body moves into fight and flight and away from this whole brain thinking. And of course, this happens whenever we are very stressed, that our brain has to choose as it enters this fight or flight, this place where it's trying to protect itself. And it begins to choose, which way am I going to think? Because I have to think quickly, so I have limited access to what I'm using here as the adrenaline pumps and blood is going to the extremities to run or hide or freeze. And so yes, as we encounter stress in our lives, we move into these profiles which are not ideal. There's no whole brain thinking taking place there. But again, what does this mean? It means if we move, if we respond to life, if we experience, if we interact with the world, if we become active, so we move from this one-sided way of thinking, whatever that profile is for each of us, back to this place where we experience whole brain thinking. So really powerful things. And of course, as we come to understand, so that would be the third functional area, those moves from there. But as we come to understand like that power of that, I can bring it into my classroom. As I understand the power of the second functional area to regulate my emotions, I can bring that into the classroom when I'm overwhelmed. As I understand the potential of the moves within the first functional area to reduce stress and get a chance to breathe back into the situation and to relieve anxiety and tension, I can bring these moves back into the class. So obviously I can't have a big treadmill sitting in my class every time I'm stressed, or every time I'm feeling emotionally overwhelmed, or every time, I'm feeling anxious. But knowing these moves really helps me as a teacher incorporate them, so that again, I can move from the stress profile or the way I think and learn under stress to this whole brain thinking space again. So again, very, very, very powerful stuff that can be so easily brought into a day. And as we use these moves more and more, the body absolutely loves routine repetition. So as we move in, using these moves more and more in our class on a daily basis, the brain and body who love this go, okay, I'm safe, I can calm down, I can relax, I'm getting ready for work, or getting ready for this type of exercise coming up. And so, we can ready our body emotionally, mentally, and physically for what it is that we're expecting of it to do. So again, to remember that that's the way in which the body and the subconscious actually communicate through movement. And why do I say subconscious at the moment, or subconscious? Because it is our subconscious that is overseeing the movements and the movement patterns. So the breathing, the blinking, the beating of the heart, the peristalsis as I swallow, the stomach digesting, the intestines moving. And of course, there's life because I'm moving even though I'm sitting still. There's movement as I breathe and I'm taking in and my chest is expanding. And so, yes, I don't have to cognitively think about this because it is on a subconscious level that my subconscious is overseeing the movements taking place within my body. And so as I start to move, I start speaking very deeply to myself as I choose to react and respond and move and reach out or withdraw in life. And so this is why movement is incredibly powerful, and why it is this that we use when working with people, as opposed to talking at a problem or coming at a problem or having to put together a plan or having to work through a very cognitive process of trying to change a habit or break something. It is through movement that I, in actual fact, talk very deeply with myself on this level, where I have all these behaviors and patterns that I've put in place over the years. So as I say, absolutely love this work. So often people ask me, what do I do? And I've said this before, I say I help people, but I help people in a very different way to many others, because many others, we have to think on how we're feeling, think of the problem, think of the academic barriers our children might be having, and then we have to understand it and put it on a piece of paper, because it's all happening within their third functional area, without the appreciation and the understanding of the first two functional areas, and how I need to go back and through movement, as I say, I can go into those and very gently actually make big changes within a person, within ourselves. So yes, if you haven't heard about movement-based learning, if you haven't heard about this type of stuff that speaks to yourself and your body in a way that the body and mind truly understands, get hold of us and let us have a conversation. I absolutely love this work. It makes so much sense. And what I love about this work is the more I deal with it, the more I get into it, the more I'm like, but why aren't we using this? This is so easy. This is so in line with who we are. This is so natural. It's such a loving way of working with people and with ourselves. And so yes, what is my message today? Experience some of this for yourself. See how it is that you're thinking when you're sitting still for too long. Many of us are in our office space. Many of us are sitting at our desks. This has been encouraged over lockdown, where we couldn't really get out and run and be active and involved in the world around us. And so we became quite sedentary. And consider what it has done for you physically. How healthy are you? How good is your well-being? How good is your health? How good are your aches and pains? Are they doing well? How clear is your thinking? How much brain fog do you sit with? How many headaches do you get? How much tension's in your neck there? And then how is your emotions? How are you feeling? Do you feel alive? Do you feel depressed? Do you feel down? Do you feel anxious all the time? And then move, go out and have a walk. And again, a 20-minute walk is brilliant. We, of course, have taken these moves and turned them into really powerhouse moves, as I say, design moves that you can get the same result with far less movement or far less time, let's put it that way, than having to now quickly go for a 20-minute jog or 20-minute walk. But go for something like that. Go to the gym and then notice within yourself afterwards, how is my body and my aches? How is my thinking? Is it clearer? I have so many brilliant ideas on my treadmill, and that's why I do it first thing in the morning. It gets the brain, the juices flowing. It truly does. And then I'm able to put these things in and plan out and arrive at solutions that I've been stuck with, because all of a sudden I'm thinking from this whole brain state. And then, as I say, how are your emotions? How's that stress for you? How's that anxiety? Are you still experiencing it in a real sensation within your body, or has that shifted? And when you see that this has changed your mindset, imagine doing that every day. Imagine bringing that into the class with your kids every day, and the power that this truly has as we incorporate it on a daily basis in our life. So have a good day, and we'll talk again soon.